Sup YouTube, it's Bloodthirsty here and welcome to another deck profile. This time around we are gonna check out the Garchomp with Lucario, one of the more hyped decks from the Ultra Prism set. So to start off, we're gonna go with Garchomp here. We're gonna go straight into this video. We're gonna run 4 Garchomp together with 2 Gabite and then 4 of the Gibble. So this will be the main line here for the Garchomp line. Having this Gibble with the ability here, it has an ability, as you can see it, Rock Hiding. If you can see that, Rock Hiding means if you get a fighting energy attached to this Gibble, it has free retreat, which means you can just attach an energy onto Gibble and then actually just retreat into something else. So with that, it has free retreat and you can just keep the energy, which is awesome. Also, we're gonna run a 3-2 line of Lucario, so 3 little Riolus together with 2 Lucario. Lucario has the ability to get every single card from the deck once during your turn if you have a Garchomp in play, and this counts for every Lucario out. Let's say you have 2 Lucarios out, well, you can just use the ability twice and get 2 cards from your deck that you want. Most of the times you will want to grab a Cynthia because Garchomp has an attack that is called Royal Blade, dealing 100 damage, and if you've played a Cynthia during your turn, you'll actually deal 200 damage. Together with things like Choice Band, you're gonna hit some crazy numbers here, and that's for 2 attachments. His first attack of Garchomp also snipes for 50, so that can just finish off games. So that's gonna be the main Pokemon of the entire deck, but then we're gonna go with some tech cards. My personal favorite here is Vulpix. Why is Vulpix so good? Because it has the attack beacon. With that, you can just get any 2 Pokemon from the deck into your hand if you use the attack for 0 energies. I love using Vulpix during your first turn in order to get your Garchomp and Lucario possibly on your second turn. So let's say you go second, you can have the access to beacon on your first turn, bang, and then the turn after that, get out your Lucario and Garchomp really easily like that. Then you just retreat your Vulpix thanks to something like Floatstone or Escape Rope or other methods like Guzma, and boom, out of nowhere, you can just get your Garchomp to smack around a lot of damage. Also, we're gonna run a 1-1 line of the Lycanroc GX with the Rockruff. We also run 1 strong energy because sometimes you can use the ability of Lucario, get the strong energy on the Rockruff and get a knockout on Zorua. That could happen, but it's in here for the Bloodthirsty eyes because we will have to use the Cynthia every single turn, and together with Lycanroc's ability, we have the capability of using things, dragging things from the opponent's bench to the active position, because you cannot use Guzma and Cynthia in the same turn. So in this situation, we're gonna use Cynthia and use Lycanroc to target something that we want. Another great method, if you want to make a deck like this, is maybe try out Counter Catcher. It also has been proven to work in this type of deck, but I just like Lycanroc because it also brings you the attack Dangerous Rogue GX. You want to have a GX move at your disposal, and that GX move is just crazy. 50 damage for every of your opponent's bench Pokemon is devastating because everybody uses Brigette on their first turn, and this Lycanroc will get KOs. Another great thing is that Claw Slash one-hit KOs Zoroark GXs, and Zoroark GX is just one of the more popular Pokemon of the entire format. So that is already a great thing. So I'm just gonna put these Pokemon all on side here because there's gonna be a lot of space needed to show every single card of the entire deck. So a 1-1 Lycanroc, I definitely recommend it. I've tested it and it works out pretty well. Next up, we have 3 Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele is the best Pokemon in the entire game. It has the Wonder Tag ability. If you slap it down on the bench, you can search your deck for any supporter of choice, and that will most of the times be a Cynthia if you don't get your Lucario out. If Lucario for some reason gets knocked out early game, you can just rely on your Tapu Leles to get that Cynthia. Another great thing is if you run 3 Tapu Lele, you always have that Brigette most of the time. With Brigette, you can just set up a Vulpix, a Riolu, and a Gibble, all depending on your playset. Let's see if you're facing something else, maybe you can get out your Rockruff as well. So this will be the main Pokemon of the entire deck, and now we will just head on to the supporters straight from the bat. Talking about Brigette, we are gonna run 2 copies of Brigette. Brigette is awesome. You can get 3 Pokemon from the deck, basic Pokemon, and slap them down on the bench immediately. After you've used Brigette and then use the beacon attack of Vulpix, you'll have to have a great way to get everything out. With that, you can just get out your Garchomp if you have rare candy in the hand, or maybe you just go the manual route, going to Gabite. Everything is possible. If you dead draw, it's not even a problem. Brigette, get that Vulpix, get maybe a Tapu Lele thanks to that beacon attack. So 2 copies of Brigette, you might add it up to 3, but I think 3 Leles is enough just to use those Brigette. Otherwise, these will be dead cards, and we're not running Zoroark GX to trade those cards away later down the line. So only 2 Brigettes in this deck. Then the supporter that everybody is hyped for in Ultra Prism, it is 4 copies of Cynthia. We'll need Cynthia in order to activate Royal Blade's full potential, dealing 200 damage, so 4 copies of Cynthia is a must. You can also reuse things with Cynthia. There's a way of playing with Puzzle of Time or Palpat, but I didn't find it necessary. If you're running Lycanroc, use a punch of your Garchomp to deal damage, and then later down the line you have that access to that wonderful GX move to get your last prizes. So 4 Cynthia is enough in this deck, so you cannot even play more. You are only allowed to play 4 in total, so Palpat is a way to up those numbers here, or Puzzles of Time as mentioned. And Lucario can always get out your Cynthia at the correct time. If you get a Garchomp out and then you're using that Lucario, most of the times you will grab yourself a Cynthia or maybe a DCE depending on what you already have. Then 2 copies of N. N is still a great supporter. If you're falling behind in prize card, you can just disrupt your opponent, lowering their hand size while just upping yours if you're falling behind in prize cards. Also, not to worry about it too much, you have Lucario. If you N and you're low on hand size, you can just use Lucario's ability the turn after that in order to get yourself another supporter of the turn. So definitely a great inclusion to N. And then, surprisingly, we're only gonna run 1 copy of Sycarmore. Why is that? Because we don't want to discard every thing here, and Cynthia will be our main draw supporter of the turn. So in total we are having 7 draw supporters. I know it does seem a little bit on the low side, but we do have other things to get our stuff out, like Lucario for example. And of course the Alolan Vulpix is MVP in this deck. I cannot stress that enough. You can use Alolan Vulpix to get yourself a Lele and you're good to go. Then 2 Guzma, because Guzma gives us the access just to target something on the opponent's side of the bench and drag it. This is most of the time really helpful if you just want to knock some weak things out, because Garchomp can deal 100 damage and you cannot use Cynthia and Guzma at the same time. So most of the times Guzma will be used to just knock something out like a Magneton, a Magnemite, or some stuff that still needs evolution. So 2 copies of Guzma is efficient. You don't even need to run more because you have Lycanroc. So that's for the supporters. Now we're gonna go to the item cards. Item cards is very straightforward. We're gonna run 4 copies of Ultra Ball. Why is Ultra Ball good? It's in every deck. Most of the times you're gonna run 4 copies unless you're running something weird like a Sylveon deck or anything else for that matter. You're gonna run 4 Ultra Balls in this deck. There's a lot of Pokemon that you want to get out. With Ultra Ball you can grab yourself the Garchomp. If you have Rare Candy in the hand, boom, Garchomp is already there. A good thing about Garchomp is that you can also snipe early game if you already have a DCE attached. But be careful of Enhanced Hammer, so just to mention it. Next up is gonna be 3 Rare Candy. Rare Candy will be able to get ourselves Garchomp in play way quicker than we'll have to rely on Gabite. The good thing about Gabite, it has the Ascension attack. It can also evolve into Garchomp if you have an energy attached to your Gabite. So Rare Candy, I do like the count of 4, but I couldn't find space for it. Maybe you can drop something from the list and add a 4th Rare Candy so you can get your Garchomps out quicker enough. Also, I think I want to mention here that Skyla is also one of the cards that one of my friends suggested. Skyla could be neat in this deck, but I couldn't find the room for it because you need a lot of stuff to get things going. Maybe you can cut the Lycanroc line. It all depends on your playstyle. And another thing I want to mention is that you can also have the Garchomp from the Breakpoint set, which is a fighting type and deals 60 damage for a single energy with energy acceleration as well, with strong energy and choice band. Gets KOs on the Zoroark GX, but we do have Lycanroc to counter those annoying Zoroark GXs to knock them out in one shot. So if you don't like the Lycanroc line, maybe test out a split line, 3 of the Garchomp, the Dragon ones, and then 1 of the Breakpoint fighting type Garchomps. Good news for the people out there, there's also going to be a Garchomp, this particular version, in a fighting type pretty soon. Maybe in a collection box, maybe in Sun and Moon 6, we'll have to wait and see. Next up, for more items, we're going to run 1 copy of Evosoda, gets our Lucario quicker in play, and also helps out pretty well if you can get out a Gabite and you're actually bricking here. You can use that Gabite in order to get yourself Garchomp with the attack Ascension. So Evosoda, definitely a great way to play with this type of deck. We're also gonna run 3 copies of Choice Band. Why are we gonna run 3 copies of Choice Band? Because it ups the damage. 200 damage is not enough. With 230 we knock out everything. Even things like God of War GX we knock out in one shot. Galissapod GX, Zoroark GX, Silvally GX, the list goes on. You'll need Choice Band. A bad thing is that you cannot one-hit KO something like the Decidueye GX, so that will be kind of a tough matchup in my opinion, but other matchups you'll definitely love the inclusion of the Choice Bands. And in some matches you don't even need Choice Band, like Glaceon, you one-shot that regardless with 200 damage. Next up, we're gonna run 2 Field Blower. Why do we need Field Blowers? Because Garbotoxin might still be around with Galissapod, and if we are ability locked, the Lucario does not work anymore, the Bloodthirsty Eyes does not work anymore, and the Lele as well. So we need the Field Blowers in order to knock off those annoying float stones on the opponent's Garbodor. So that's why we're running 2 copies. Maybe 1 copy is enough because we can get it out with Lucario pretty quickly, but I am running 2 Field Blowers as of yet. Next up, another 2 off, it is 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher. Rescue Stretcher gives us the access to get your Pokemon from the discard back, which means if your Vulpix gets knocked out early game and you want to have that beacon once again, you can get it back. Same goes with stuff like, let's say you have a Sycamore, even though you only run 1 copy, you get rid of everything. That way with Rescue Stretcher you can get back stuff, which is awesome. Also, we're only running 2 Lucario, maybe you want to run 3 copies, but we're running 2 Rescue Stretcher, so it's good either way. And then to finish it off, we have these 2 cards. these help us retreat. This is Floatstone, easy accessible thanks to that Lucario's ability, and also Escape Rope. I love Escape Rope because Garchomp has free retreat, and Escape Rope with free retreat is an OP combo here. So in this situation, the thing I want to do with this type of deck is pretty easy. We just want to use Brigette, get Vulpix out, maybe Riolu and Gibble, and then we're just gonna use the Beacon, get Garchomp out, get Lucario out, and once our Vulpix is still in the active position, or if it's knocked out, it's even better. So if it's still in the active position, use Lucario, get that Floatstone, attach some energies, and boom, Garchomp can attack. Escape Rope is definitely handy because we cannot use Cynthia and Guzma at the same time, as mentioned, and with Escape Rope, we do force the opponent to switch out their main active Pokemon, so that could also work out pretty well. And now to finish it off, we're just gonna lay the Floatstones over here, so we have a little bit more space. Let's just put those aside here. And we're just gonna finish off the video with energies. How many energies do you need in this type of deck? Can you guess? Well, in this situation, we are gonna run 6 of the basic fighting energy. So 6 of them in total. You could run more, but there's also the strong energy. We're gonna run 1 strong energy. Why aren't we running more strong energies? Because Enhanced Hammer is around. Strong energy only works on Lucario and Lycanroc GX, so that's why we're only running 1 copy. And if Lucario is out, we can always use that ability of Lucario, get that strong energy at the correct time. Sometimes with a strong energy on the Lycanroc, or maybe a strong energy on Lucario. Lucario could also be an attacker with Choice Band, just to mention it here. That definitely works out. 1 copy. If Garchomp, if you're running the fighting Garchomp, you maybe can add the strong energies up to a higher number here. But I am just fine with only running 1, since we are not relying on fighting type Garchomps. And then to finish off, 4 DCEs, and that will be the entire list on this video. These 4 DCEs are necessary because Garchomp attacks for a single DCE with the Snipe attack, with the Quick Dive, and that Royal Blade also needs a DCE for the requirement. The good thing about DCE is Lele can sometimes attack, Lycanroc can attack, even Alolan Vulpix, as you can see, needs 2 Colorless energy. Sometimes you can even attack with Alolan Vulpix if you want to, I guess. If you're maybe facing Volcanion or stuff, Choice Band on the Vulpix, DCE, everything could happen. So everything in this type of deck can attack, and that's why I'm loving this deck so far. I've been testing around with it, and it's doing particularly well. So as I mentioned, tech cards, maybe a Skyla could be helpful to get your Rare Candy or Ultra Ball or Evosoda in order to get your things out a little bit quicker. And I think other things you want to maybe cut here is just Lycanroc at all, and maybe add some other cards that you want. I do think that this deck is suffering if you are behind. Let's say you attach an energy and the opponent knocks you out. You actually need 2 energies to attack with everything. So that's the only downside, but this deck is really solid. Cynthia, Garchomp, and Lucario working together, 200 damage. And that's it for another deck profile on my video. If you enjoy these type of videos, definitely show your support by destroying the like button. As always, I definitely enjoy it if you guys are enjoying it as well. So that's the reason I'm making these videos. And also in the comment section, let me know what type of version you are running with this deck. Are you running fighting type Garchomps? Do you run Lycanroc at all? Do you play counter catchers? Let me know in the comment section, and I will see you guys tomorrow with more Pokemon TCG content. See you guys then. Thanks again for watching. Peace.